welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah. This is Brown Family Goods. Thank you so much for being here. This week I am sharing a what we ate this week video. If you saw my last video, it was a gardening video, so most of you did not see that video. It was kind of a funny week. We had a sick dog who is better now, and our neighbor ended up having a house fire next door. Their house was a total loss. So anyway, it just kind of turned out to be a funny week, so I was just trying to get done what I could get done on this week. The first day that we're seeing here, I made birria style tacos. These are so good. This is definitely a go-to recipe. I've made it a couple of times in the last month or so because it's really tasty and it's nice hands-off cooking. It just cooks in the slow cooker. So what I started with was a roast that I cut up into some big chunks. Basically, I just toss it with the seasoning packet that I use, which is called Brazilian Steakhouse. If you can find that in your local store, I definitely recommend that one. So I just put the dry seasoning on there, and then I throw all of that into the crock pot with no liquid at all. You don't even need any liquid because so much moisture and fat comes out of the meat when you cook it. It turns into a really delicious kind of gravy that you can use there. To cook up the tacos, I just use some of the drippings from the pan I put out on a plate, and then I use my small, these are street taco size corn tortillas that I use here, and I love them. I absolutely love them. They're just the perfect size for a little tasty taco. Dip the corn tortilla into those drippings before you put it into the pan. It adds a ton of flavor and it helps those tortillas really crisp up when you put them in the pan. So I add on some cheese in the skillet here, and then I just break up the meat and put some on one side of the little taco there. Let those cook in the pan until they get nice and crispy and brown, and then take them out. It is so simple to cook these up. The best part of these tacos is that you add on whatever toppings you like. Alan is more of a plain guy. He just likes the cheese and meat, maybe a little sauce on there for him. For me, I like to load them up. So you'll see that I add tons of toppings to mine. Some lettuce, some cilantro, some pico de gallo that I buy at the store also. And I also love that green salsa verde. It comes in a can on the shelf, and I have been addicted to that green salsa verde. So I just make up lots and lots of these. They store really well for leftovers, and then when you want to take them out and heat them back up, I put them into the air fryer. And they heat so nicely in the air fryer as well. It remelts the cheese and it heats the meat, gets that shell back nice and toasty and crispy, and they're so good. The leftovers for this meal, I ended up serving up that meat by itself with some roasted potatoes, just some flattened, smashed roasted potatoes that I made, some corn from the freezer, some rolls that I had in the freezer, and that was dinner the next night. Next up, we're doing burgers, and I also cooked up some sweet potatoes and some broccoli. You've seen me cook those 100 times, but I cooked those at the same time that I cooked up the burgers for this meal. So I ended up making a burger bowl out of these. I kept the leftovers of the burgers because this made a pretty good amount of burgers, but I know that Alan will eat those throughout the week for his lunches for work. So this is 2 pounds of meat that I'm adding here. I'm using 1 pack of the French onion soup mix that is just dry mix from the shelf here. Put in a little bit of water to kind of rehydrate the dried onions and everything in the French onion soup mix. I wanted to make some smaller patties from these, so I just used my largest cookie scoop that I have, and then I used my burger press to press them out nice and thin before I put them on the grill. Once you smash the burgers into the patties, you can really easily store these in the freezer. So just lay them out on a cookie sheet like I'm doing here, and then put that whole cookie sheet into the freezer. You can freeze the patties up to cook later, or you can cook them all at once like I did. This is a really good meal when you're cooking for two, because you can have some patties now for your dinner or your lunches, or you can save the patties to cook for another time and just take out what you need to cook up later. In my burger bowl, I put some lettuce, some chopped up pickles, some cherry tomatoes, and then I ended up, for myself, made up a little bit of a sauce, which was just a burger sauce, basically some mayonnaise, ketchup, pickle juice, and a few chopped pickles to go on that as well. And these were so delicious. Next up, I'm starting on two things at once here. I am starting on the crock pot pork tenderloins, which turned out really nice. And I also am going to cook up some rice first to make my chicken and rice casserole. So you've seen me cook the rice in the Instant Pot a bunch of times, which is definitely my go-to method. Now, I will say, if you're making this casserole, I would probably cook the rice the day before, because the rice could be a little bit soft. Mine ended up a little bit soft once I cooked it in the oven as well. So go ahead and cook the rice the day before if you're going to make the chicken and rice casserole. I didn't have time the day before, so I'm just doing it all on the same day. Turns out really nice either way, but you might find, like I did, that the rice is a little soft if you cook it and then use the rice in the same day. So 6 minutes in the Instant Pot on high pressure for the rice. Very, very easy. Now I'm going to make up the dry rub that goes on these pork tenderloins. So I ended up using 3 because that's what I had on hand, and I wanted to go ahead and have a lot of meat ready for the week. That way we could just pull the meat and add to it for our dinners, which I usually am doing something like a bag of salad, either some frozen or fresh roasted vegetables. I just add to it with whatever I have on hand. One night I also cooked up some roasted potatoes to do with this, just red potatoes that I chopped up and cooked in the oven. So you can really make the sides whatever you want them to be, but having that pork tenderloin done and already cooked, all I do to reheat it, sometimes I put it into the air fryer to reheat it. Other times I put it in the skillet and just reheat the pieces that way. You can even just throw it in the microwave if you want as well. The rub is first, and it's just kind of a barbecue flavor rub. It does flavor the meat really, really nicely. I was a little bit hesitant, and this was my first time using the crock pot to cook pork tenderloins. Now, it did take a couple of hours for mine to cook on high. If you're only doing 2, it probably wouldn't take 2 full hours on high, but I would say you definitely want to monitor the temperature of these. So maybe this is not a good one for all day long cooking, but it's more of a hands-off way to cook these while you're around the house. So into the crock pot just goes about 1 cup of beef broth. I just am using beef bouillon here in about a cup of water. And then I put down some of the dry rub onto my pan. That way I could just roll these pork tenderloins around in the dry rub to get them all coated up before they go into the crock pot. The recipes for all of this will be in the description box below. I may have some links to printable recipes for these as well, but just check the description box and you will see them there, either the full recipe or the link to it on my recipe website, brownfamilyrecipes.com. For my pork tenderloin, I was just checking periodically after about an hour or an hour and 20 minutes. I started to check the temperature of those and just kind of turned them in the crock pot while they were cooking so that they would get evenly cooked on all the sides and throughout the middle. Once I noticed that they were to the temperature that I wanted, I took them out, put them on a pan to cool down a little bit, and then I ended up browning these under the broiler for just about maybe 10 minutes. I just kind of rolled them as they were cooking under the broiler just to give them a little bit more color, but that is not an absolutely necessary step. They're completely cooked once they come out of the crock pot. They just don't have a brownness to them, so I put mine under the broiler for a few minutes just to give them a better look. Next up here is my chicken and rice casserole. So we ate on this for quite a while, and I even ended up putting a few portions that I had left. Once we were kind of done with eating it, I put a few portions into the freezer because this makes a big casserole. So it would definitely be good for a crowd, or go ahead and save it and freeze it, a portion of it, on the day that you make it if you know you're not going to get through it all. This is also a good one that you could make the whole batch up in the bowl and then split it into a couple of pans if you're just cooking for two. So into the bowl goes my condensed soup. I'm using a gluten-free version here today, which ended up turning out pretty good. I was a little hesitant when I saw it in the can because it looks kind of gloopy, but once you stir it around with a whisk, it all came together just fine. And what I ended up doing was using just a bag of mixed frozen vegetables in mine. That rotisserie chicken that I pulled off the bone, I went ahead and used the whole thing for it. Added in some milk to thin down the sauce a bit, and then I put probably about 1/2 or 3/4 cup of that white sharp cheddar cheese into mine. There's a spice mix that goes in here too. It's basically just some paprika, some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. Nothing funny going into there. So it did end up having really nice flavor though, and we actually really enjoyed this casserole. This casserole is really reminiscent of the Stouffer's Grandma's Chicken Casserole. And I can tell you, when we were very freshly married about 15 years ago, we ate Grandma's chicken at least once a week. That was when we were both working full-time, busy jobs. And, you know, some nights you just need to get something on the table that is agreeable to everyone. And that Grandma's Chicken Stouffer's frozen casserole was agreeable to everyone. So we would eat that very frequently. So this definitely reminds me of that, just a little bit of a fresher homemade version of. Once my pork tenderloins were all done, I let them cool down a bit on the counter, and then I just went ahead and sliced those up to store them away. I put them into some storage containers with the broth that was left after cooking, just so that they would stay nice and moist until I was ready to reheat them throughout the week. This turned out to be such a good week of food, and it was really nice to have a few things on hand all the time, just to pick from, decide what we want for dinner that night, and go from there. So I really appreciate you watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll check out those recipes listed below in the description box as well. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well if you're not already. People who watch my videos are not yet subscribed. So if you want to see what's coming next, more recipes, more cooking for two, and meal prep, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you'll be sure to see my next video. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you back here real soon.